There is a hard truth that too many people spend a lifetime avoiding. Nobody is coming to save you. No mentor, no parent, no partner, no system is going to swoop down and rescue you from the weight of your own potential. Your future will only change the moment you decide to place all your energy where it belongs, on you. Without distractions, without excuses, without waiting for permission. Focus on you until you win. This is not just a motivational slogan. It's a survival law in a world that thrives on distraction and compromise. Stay with me, because this shift, the decision to turn your full attention inward, may be the most important choice you will ever make. Every dream you've written down, every goal you've whispered to yourself at midnight, every vision of a life better than this one depends on how you handle the daily fight with yourself. The fight is not glamorous. It's not fireworks or applause. It's the unromantic discipline of sharpening your mind, disciplining your body, and forging your character brick by brick. You don't get to wait for the right mood. You don't get to take long detours into comfort. Life isn't slowing down for you. Every wasted hour, every numbing scroll, every excuse compounds against your future. Think about it. There is no neutral ground in this life. You are either building yourself up, or you are drifting further away from the person you could be. You are either stacking discipline or stacking regret. And regret is always heavier. This is why you must treat yourself as your most urgent project. Your strongest self will not build itself. Your mind will not sharpen itself. Your confidence will not fall from the sky like a blessing. You are responsible fully and completely, and responsibility starts with small decisions. It starts with reading instead of scrolling. It starts with moving your body instead of promising you'll begin tomorrow. It starts with choosing fuel over junk, clarity over noise, progress over procrastination. These are small, almost invisible victories, but they are the stones you stack to create an unshakable foundation. When you make those choices consistently, they stop being chores and become your identity. You stop saying, "I will try," and start saying, "This is who I am." Strength, in its truest form, is built in silence. It is built in the hours when nobody is watching. It is built when no one claps, when the results are invisible, when fatigue whispers that nobody would notice if you took today off. Those are the moments that matter most. That is where the inner scaffolding of your future is forged. Because what you do in private becomes the confidence you carry in public. Consistency is the great equalizer. It's not flashy. It's not exciting every day. But it works. Every time you choose yourself, you plant a flag deeper in your own territory. Every time you return to the grind, you prove to yourself that your future is worth fighting for. And the world, though it may not acknowledge you immediately, will always reward the ones who bet on themselves long after the crowd has stopped cheering. So ask yourself honestly, are you building yourself, or are you distracting yourself? Are you feeding your strength, or are you feeding your weakness? The answer to that question sets you free. Because if you are not getting stronger, you are getting weaker. If you are not moving forward, you are falling behind. Life has no pause button. Growth is not optional. It is required. Protect your focus as if your life depends on it, because it does. Notifications, news, criticism, gossip, all of it is designed to steal pieces of your attention until nothing is left for you. Your attention is sacred. What you give it to grows. What you withhold it from dies. When you guard the doorway of your mind and choose carefully what enters, you become a different kind of person. You stop needing approval. You stop apologizing for ambition. You stop shrinking yourself to fit other people's comfort zones. Nobody else is going to build you. Nobody else will invest the time, energy, and sacrifice required to create your strongest self. That is your job, and it is the most important work you will ever do. Respect yourself enough to put in that work. Respect yourself enough to trade temporary comfort for lasting strength. Respect yourself enough to choose growth over fitting in. Each day you wake up is another chance to add a brick to your foundation. Do not waste those days. They are finite, and once they're gone forever. Every morning you stand at a crossroads. Will you build yourself, or will you distract yourself? And understand this: when you strengthen yourself, everything else in your life strengthens too. Your relationships deepen, your health improves, your finances grow, your confidence expands. But it all starts in one place. It always starts with you. When you commit to focusing on yourself until you win, you eventually realize something profound. Winning isn't even the real prize. The real prize is the person you become through the struggle, through the consistency, through the discipline. The victory on the outside is only a reflection of the transformation on the inside. You already have what it takes. You don't need more talent. You don't need a rescuer. You need a deeper level of commitment to yourself than you've ever given before. Start today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Stack days, stack wins, and watch your life transform. You don't win by hoping. You don't win by luck. You win by showing up for yourself again and again when most people give up. So let me ask you now, where are you listening from? And what time of day is it as this message reaches you? Drop a comment below. I'd love to know who's on this journey with us. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Audiobook Sanctuary and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapters of this story. Because together, we're building not just a community of listeners, but a community of doers, people serious about transforming their lives. And with that, let's move forward. Because building your strongest self is only the beginning. The next step is just as crucial: learning how to silence the outside noise that constantly threatens to pull you off track. Every day you wake up, the world throws noise at you. Some of it is obvious: opinions, criticism, gossip, endless notifications. Some of it is subtle: small doubts, hidden comparisons, the quiet voice of fear disguised as practicality. If you don't guard your mind, this noise creeps in and begins to drown out your own vision. And here's the truth: no dream, no goal, no transformation can survive if you spend your life living inside the echo chamber of other people's expectations. Noise is not just sound, it's distraction, it's confusion, it's the dilution of your energy into battles that don't matter. And in an age where everyone has a megaphone, protecting your focus becomes more valuable than gold. If you don't decide what deserves your attention, someone else will, and they don't care about your future. You must build the discipline to filter, to silence, to step away. Not every opinion deserves an answer. Not every argument deserves your time. Not every distraction deserves your energy. When you make peace with this, you gain back the most valuable resource you have: your attention. Attention is the currency of creation. Whatever you spend it on grows stronger in your life. Think about it. If you pour attention into negativity, negativity grows. If you pour attention into other people's drama, drama multiplies. If you pour attention into gossip, comparison, and criticism, your mind becomes a dumping ground for other people's limitations. But if you pour attention into your own vision, your own habits, your own growth, Your life expands in ways the outside world cannot understand. Protecting your mind is not arrogance. It is clarity. It's knowing that your life is too important to be hijacked by other people's insecurities. This doesn't mean you ignore the world or pretend the noise isn't there. It means you see it for what it is, and you refuse to give it your energy. The strongest minds are not those that win every argument. They're the ones that learn to walk away. They're the ones who hear criticism and keep building anyway. They're the ones who can stand in the middle of chaos and still see clearly where they're going. That's strength. That's freedom. Because when you no longer need the world to understand you, you are free. When you no longer require validation to move forward, you are free. When you stop shrinking your dreams to fit into other people's limited vision, you are free. That freedom is worth more than any applause you could ever receive. Here's what most people miss. Not all noise comes from the outside. Some of the loudest noise comes from within. Self-doubt is noise. Overthinking is noise. Fear of failure is noise. These inner voices are often more destructive than the critics outside. That's why training your mind is not just about ignoring the world. It's about mastering yourself. You have to become your own gatekeeper, deciding which thoughts you allow to stay and which ones you dismiss. Picture it like this. Your mind is a sacred home. Not everyone deserves a key. Not every stranger gets to enter. Not every guest gets to stay. When you learn to treat your thoughts with the same boundaries you set for your home, your inner world becomes peaceful, ordered, and powerful. And when your inner world is strong, the noise outside loses its power. Every day, you will be tempted to react, to defend yourself, to explain yourself, to seek approval. But every time you resist that temptation, you get stronger. Every time you ignore meaningless noise and choose focus instead, you sharpen your mind. You build resilience. You build a mental fortress that cannot be shaken by gossip, comparison, or jealousy. And that is how you protect your future, by protecting your mind. Not just sometimes, but daily. It's a choice, and it requires practice. Some days the noise will feel louder. Some days the critics will multiply. Some days the temptation to explain yourself will be strong. But you must be stronger. You must remind yourself why you started, what's at stake, and who you are becoming. Because greatness is never built by following the crowd. Greatness is built by those who have the courage to walk alone if necessary. Greatness is built by those who choose silence over arguments, clarity over confusion, vision over validation. Greatness is built by those who learn to hear their own voice above the roar of the world. So here's a question to carry with you. Is this worth my energy? Every comment, every argument, every distraction that enters your life should be filtered through that lens. If it pulls you away from your vision, it's noise. If it drains you instead of builds you, it's noise. If it forces you to shrink instead of expand, it's noise. And noise has no place in the life you're building. Train your mind until you can walk through chaos and remain unshaken. Train your mind until rejection doesn't rattle you, until criticism doesn't paralyze you, until fear no longer drives your decisions. Train your mind until you can hear the noise and keep walking anyway. That is freedom. That is focus. That is power. Remember this: the outside noise will never go away. The critics will always exist. Doubt will always circle. But you will change. You will grow stronger, wiser, clearer. And in that growth, the noise will lose its grip. So protect your mind, guard your focus, value your energy. The world is loud, but your purpose is louder, if you give it room to speak. And once you've learned to silence the noise, the next step becomes inevitable. Fighting for your dreams, even when no one else believes. There will come a moment when you realize the people around you cannot see the fire inside you. They may care for you, they may even love you, but they cannot fully understand the vision that was placed in your heart. And when you step beyond what is comfortable, when you reach for something bigger than the ordinary, you will meet resistance. Some of that resistance will come from strangers, but often it comes from the people closest to you. They doubt not because they hate you, but because they are limited by their own fears. And in that moment, you face a choice. Shrink to fit their expectations or fight harder for the dream only you can see. Nobody else is responsible for believing in you. That is your job. Belief is not something you outsource. It is something you own. When the world looks at you and says, "It can't be done," you must answer with action. Not arguments, not endless explanations. Action. The daily proof that you are serious about building what they cannot yet imagine. The truth is, dreams are rarely understood at first. Big dreams are disruptive. They stretch the limits of what others find comfortable. Small dreams are safe because they don't threaten anyone. But when you decide to break the mold, when you step outside of the expectations set for you, it unsettles people. They question you, sometimes with concern, sometimes with judgment. And you must learn to stand tall in the face of both. This fight for your dreams is not only external, it is deeply internal. The voices outside may doubt, but the voice inside can be even louder. Doubt whispers that maybe they're right. Fear begs you to settle for comfort. Fatigue tempts you to put it off until tomorrow. And this is where the real battle lies. Not against others, but against your own excuses. Every rejection sharpens you. Every no forces you to dig deeper. Every setback builds resilience if you let it. There are no wasted battles when you are fighting for something real. The scars you carry become proof that you refused to back down. And one day, those scars will tell the story of your determination, how you fought when no one believed, how you pressed forward when encouragement was absent, how you built brick by brick in silence. Think of the people you admire most. None of them reached their vision without a season of doubt. Every champion faced a point where quitting seemed easier, where walking away looked like the rational option. But they kept swinging. They endured lonely nights, quiet mornings, and invisible results. They earned respect not by demanding it, but by showing up until results became undeniable. And that's the secret. Respect always follows results, never the other way around. If you wait for applause before you act, you'll never start. If you wait for validation before you commit, you'll never finish. The ones who rise are the ones who learn to fight without a crowd, to walk alone when necessary, to anchor themselves in purpose rather than approval. Fighting for your dreams will hurt. It will feel lonely. It will test your patience, your courage, your belief. But every day you continue, you're not only building your future, you're building yourself. You're forging a toughness that can't be faked, a resilience that can't be borrowed, a soul that can't be shaken. That toughness is the currency of every breakthrough. And when the results finally arrive, when the vision you've carried begins to show itself in the world, the doubters will still be there. Some will say they knew you could do it all along. Some will still dismiss your success. But it won't matter, because you will already be living what they said was impossible. Their opinions will be irrelevant, their doubts outdated. The proof will be your life. So here's what you must remember. You don't fight for applause. You fight for your future. You don't fight to prove others wrong. You fight to prove yourself right. You don't fight for their validation. You fight to honor the vision given only to you. That fight is sacred, and it belongs to you alone. Never apologize for chasing something bigger. Never water down your ambition to make others comfortable. Never feel guilty for wanting more out of life. The truth is, your fight is not selfish. It's necessary. Because in the end, the world needs people who refuse to settle, who choose courage over comfort, who show what's possible when belief is backed by relentless action. And yes, there will be times when quitting feels tempting. The results may come slower than you hope. The progress may be invisible for months, even years. But every day you refuse to quit, you are already winning. Every day you push forward without external belief, you strengthen the inner belief that cannot be shaken. That is the true measure of a fighter. So hold fast to your vision. Stand tall in the face of doubt. Fight harder when belief feels scarce. Because the dream you carry is not a mistake. It was given to you for a reason, and only you can bring it to life. One day, when the results are undeniable, you'll look back and know the fight was worth it. And when that moment comes, you'll carry a new kind of confidence. The confidence that comes from surviving doubt, from outlasting criticism, from building in silence. That confidence cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked. It is earned, and with it, you are ready for the next step. Showing up for yourself every single day, no matter what. There is a difference between people who dream and people who build. Dreamers wait for motivation. Builders show up regardless. If you want anything real to happen in your life, you must show up for yourself every single day. Not when it feels good, not when the excitement is fresh, not when the crowd is watching, but especially on the days when it's silent, boring, and hard. That is when your future is written. Most people miss their chance not because they lack talent, but because they lack consistency. They sprint in bursts of excitement and collapse when the first wall appears. They commit on Monday, but by Friday, they've disappeared. They rely on moods instead of discipline, and moods are unreliable. Success is not built on moods. It is built on daily commitment, brick by brick, action by action. Showing up daily is a promise you make to yourself. Every time you keep that promise, you strengthen the foundation of your self-respect. And nothing can replace that. Not applause, not rewards, not recognition. Because deep down, you know whether or not you've done the work. And that knowledge shapes your identity far more than anything the outside world says. Showing up does not mean being perfect. It doesn't mean every day is spectacular. It means refusing to disappear when things get slow. It means choosing progress, even when progress is small. One page read, one workout completed, one better choice. These tiny acts accumulate, and over time, they transform your life. Ask yourself, can you trust yourself to show up? If you say you'll do it, do you follow through? Because trust in yourself is the bedrock of everything else. If you can't rely on your own word, nothing else stands. Every time you show up, you're proving to yourself that your word is good. Every time you skip, you chip away at your own confidence. The secret is this: momentum builds slowly and invisibly. For weeks, even months, it may feel like nothing is changing. But if you keep stacking days together, something powerful happens. The small steps begin to compound. Discipline becomes identity, and what once required effort becomes automatic. You no longer need to push yourself. You simply are the kind of person who shows up. Think of every day as a page in the story of your life. The question is, what kind of story are you writing? Is it a story of delay, excuses, and missed chances? Or is it a story of persistence, growth, and resilience? Each day you show up, you add a sentence of victory. Each day you skip, you add a sentence of regret. And those sentences add up into chapters. Those chapters become your legacy. It's easy to show up when things are fun. It's easy to show up when results are visible. But champions are built on the invisible days. The days when it feels like no progress is happening. When nobody notices. When the grind is quiet and unrewarding. That's where winners separate themselves from the rest. Some days you will feel strong and energized. Other days you will feel tired, distracted, even numb. But feelings are not the measure. The measure is whether you showed up anyway. Feelings come and go, but your actions stay. And actions, repeated, become destiny. This is where you must understand. Showing up is not glamorous. It is often repetitive. It can feel lonely. But it is the key that unlocks everything else. Every great achievement you admire is built on the invisible habit of someone who kept showing up long after it stopped being fun. So when the bed feels heavy, when excuses feel loud, when the finish line feels too far away, remind yourself, these are the days that count the most. These are the days that prove you are serious about your future. These are the days that separate those who want it from those who live it. Every morning is a fresh chance to keep your promise. A fresh chance to move your story forward. A fresh chance to choose your future over your feelings. Don't waste it. Don't let yourself drift. Don't betray the person you are becoming. Show up. Show up again. Show up until it's not an option, but a way of life. Because when you master the art of showing up, you can build anything. Health, wealth, character, legacy. It all flows from consistency. It all begins with the choice you make today and the one you'll make tomorrow. And when you've mastered the practice of showing up daily, you're ready for the next level, cutting out every distraction that weakens your focus. Because it's not enough to be present. You must be present for the right things. The world is not short on opportunity. It is short on focus. Everywhere you turn, there are 100 shiny objects pulling at your attention. Social feeds, endless news, other people's drama, tempting escapes that feel urgent, but add nothing to your growth. If you are not ruthless about what you allow in, your energy will be stolen piece by piece until nothing is left for the life you're trying to build. Focus is not something you stumble upon. It is something you construct deliberately. You construct it by cutting out everything that weakens it. You construct it by protecting it as if your future depends on it, because it does. Every distraction you indulge carries a hidden cost. Momentum lost, discipline weakened, clarity blurred. That cost is paid not today, but years later, when you wake up wondering why your vision never became real. Here's the harsh truth. If you are not in control of your attention, someone else is. Algorithms, advertisers, critics, gossips, they all want your energy for themselves, and they are relentless. The only way you win is by deciding that your time belongs to you and your vision. Start with honesty. Where are you bleeding hours every day? Where are you giving away energy without even realizing it? Be ruthless in identifying your leaks, scrolling without purpose, conversations that drain, commitments that add nothing, environments filled with clutter. You cannot fix what you refuse to face. And until you face it, Distractions will quietly rob you of your future. Next, redesign your environment. Don't expect focus to flourish in a space built for distraction. Clean the clutter. Block the noise. Remove temptations. Make it harder to do the wrong thing and easier to do the right thing. If your phone is your greatest distraction, leave it in another room during your most important work. If your environment feeds chaos, rebuild it until it feeds clarity. And remember, distractions are not just external. They live inside you too. Overthinking, self-doubt, fear of failure. These are distractions in disguise. They whisper just as loudly as any notification. The difference is they come from within, which makes them harder to detect. That's why you must learn to refocus your mind when it drifts, to recognize when you're spiraling into thoughts that weaken rather than strengthen you. Every time you cut out a distraction, you are giving a gift to your future self. You are reclaiming hours that can be invested in mastery. You are reclaiming energy that can fuel discipline. You are reclaiming clarity that can drive your vision forward. Focus is not just about productivity. It is about dignity. It is about refusing to live as a slave to interruptions. There will be sacrifices. You will miss out on parties, conversations, and trends. But you will realize that none of those were truly valuable. You will realize that the only thing worth chasing was your own potential. And in time, the people who mocked your discipline will admire your results. Every distraction resisted is an investment. Every temptation denied is a deposit in the account of your future. Every hour protected is a brick in the fortress of your life. If you want to live a life of purpose, there is no other way. You cannot be casual with your attention and expect extraordinary results. Focus is a choice, repeated daily. A choice to prioritize what matters and cut everything else. A choice to honor your vision instead of numbing your doubts. A choice to be intentional with every moment. Nobody else will make that choice for you. Nobody else will clear your schedule or block the noise. It is your job, your responsibility, your power. When you finally commit to cutting distractions, something shifts. Progress speeds up. Confidence rises, energy multiplies. Life feels lighter because you are no longer dragged into meaningless battles. You begin to live with sharper edges, clearer purpose, and stronger conviction. And here's the key. You don't have to eliminate everything at once. Start with 1 hour of focused work a day. Protect it like sacred ground. Build momentum one decision at a time. Over weeks and months, that hour expands. Before you know it, distraction loses its grip, and focus becomes your natural state. So make the decision today. Cut it out. If it steals your time, cut it out. If it weakens your discipline, cut it out. If it drains your energy, cut it out. If it dims your light, cut it out. Because your dream deserves your full strength. Your vision deserves your full attention. Your life deserves your full presence. And once you've stripped away the noise, once you've cleared the space and taken back control of your focus, the next truth emerges. You must own your life completely. No blame, no excuses, no pointing fingers. Just ownership, the foundation of unstoppable growth. There comes a point where you have to stop pointing fingers outward and start turning the mirror back on yourself. Ownership is the dividing line between people who stay stuck and people who move forward. As long as you keep blaming someone else, your upbringing, the economy, your boss, your partner, you hand them power over your life. You surrender control of your story. But when you take ownership, you reclaim that power. You declare, no matter what has happened to me, I am responsible for what I do next. That declaration changes everything. Blame feels good in the moment. It offers temporary relief, a story that excuses failure. But its cost is devastating. Every time you blame, you give away the steering wheel of your life. You say, I can't change because they didn't change, and nothing stalls growth faster than that lie. Taking ownership does not mean beating yourself up. It doesn't mean shaming yourself for past mistakes. It means being brutally honest about where you are and why you're there. It means recognizing when laziness won, when fear dictated your decisions, when you let comfort pull you off course. Not to wallow, but to correct. Not to punish, but to rebuild. Ownership is freedom. When you accept full responsibility, you no longer wait for someone else to fix things. You no longer hope for conditions to be perfect. You stop waiting for the world to make it easier. You take what you have and you build anyway. You work with your scars, with your setbacks, with your failures, and you transform them into strength. Think about the strongest people you admire. They are not defined by ease. They are defined by resilience. They faced obstacles, setbacks, betrayals, unfair breaks, but they stopped blaming a long time ago. They looked at the same pain others used as excuses and said, "This will fuel me." And that shift, from victim to owner, unlocked a future they would never have touched otherwise. When you own your life, obstacles become teachers instead of tombstones. Mistakes become tools instead of curses. Challenges become training instead of punishments. The lens shifts completely. Suddenly, the question is not why me, but what now? And that question is powerful because it puts you back in motion. Here's a truth worth memorizing. It may not be your fault that you were knocked down, but it is your responsibility to get back up. It may not be your fault that life was unfair, but it is your responsibility to rise above it. It may not be your fault that someone hurt you, but it is your responsibility to heal and keep going. Responsibility is not about blame. It is about agency, and this agency changes everything. When you embrace it, you stop living at the mercy of circumstances. You start shaping circumstances. You stop waiting for luck. You start building momentum. Ownership puts the pen of your story back in your hand. And that pen is the most powerful tool you'll ever hold. It won't be easy. Taking responsibility often means admitting uncomfortable truths. It means looking at yourself and saying, I could have tried harder. It means confessing, I chose comfort instead of growth. It means admitting, I let fear write that decision. But honesty is the soil where transformation grows. If you can't be honest with yourself, you can't change. Every time you take responsibility, you add strength to your foundation. You stop hoping. You stop waiting. You start acting. Ownership builds momentum, and momentum builds confidence. That confidence reinforces more ownership, and the cycle continues upward. Understand this. Nobody owes you your dream. Nobody is required to hand you opportunity. Nobody is responsible for carrying you when it gets tough. This is your job from start to finish. And yes, life will throw unfair punches. But you are not powerless. You are adaptable. You are resilient. You are capable of rising every time. The cost of blame is too high. Every minute you spend complaining is a minute you could have spent building. Every excuse you make is energy stolen from your future. Every story you tell about why you can't is a brick added to the wall between you and the life you want. Ownership tears that wall down. So let me challenge you. Own your strengths, own your weaknesses, own your choices. Own the victories and the defeats. Own it all. Because the moment you own it all, you gain the power to change it all. And that power is the foundation of freedom. When you step into ownership, your life becomes yours again. Yours to shape, yours to direct, yours to rebuild. And once you taste that kind of power, you will never go back. You will never again hand over control to blame, to excuses, to circumstances. You will stand in your own strength, not perfectly, but fully responsible. And when you live this way, something remarkable happens. Setbacks lose their ability to define you. They may slow you down, but they cannot stop you. Because the one who owns their life is unstoppable, so own it, all of it. The victories, the failures, the scars, the lessons, they are yours. And with them, you have everything you need to build forward. And yet, even when you own your life, there will be days when quitting seems easier than continuing. Days when fatigue screams louder than your vision. Days when giving up feels like relief. That's when the next lesson matters most. Pushing yourself harder exactly when you want to quit. There will always come a point where the weight feels heavier than your strength. It doesn't matter how determined you are, how much progress you've made, or how deeply you believe in your vision. There will be days when quitting feels like the only rational option. That moment is universal. It visits everyone chasing something greater than comfort. But here is the dividing line. The ones who push harder in that exact moment discover a strength they never knew existed, and the ones who stop never see how close they were to breaking through. Feelings are temporary, but the consequences of surrender are permanent. Some mornings you'll wake up energized, some mornings drained before the day even begins. Your future cannot be built on feelings because feelings are unpredictable. Your future must be built on decisions. Decisions that remain steady even when your emotions fluctuate wildly. Quitting is a feeling disguised as a solution. You can't let a moment of weakness write the permanent ending to your story. Pushing harder does not mean pretending everything is easy. It means accepting the pain and refusing to let it dictate your actions. It means learning to treat discomfort as proof that you are growing, not evidence that you should stop. It means choosing to dig deeper precisely when the urge to quit is loudest. That digging, that extra rep, that one more hour becomes the birthplace of resilience. Every champion has stood at this threshold. Every champion has felt the temptation to walk away, to accept average, to call it good enough. But the difference is they didn't. They gave a little more. They leaned forward into resistance when everything in them wanted to retreat. And in doing so, they crossed into a version of themselves that could not have been accessed otherwise. Comfort is seductive. It promises relief in exchange for your future. It whispers that you've done enough, that you deserve to stop, that nobody will notice if you walk away. But comfort is a liar. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, you steal from your future self. Every time you listen to the voice of ease, you move further from the person you were meant to be. The temptation to quit is strongest just before the breakthrough. The wall you hit is often the gatekeeper to the reward. That's why persistence is not just a nice trait. It's the doorway. When you push harder at the moment of greatest resistance, you unlock strength you didn't know you had. And that strength carries you further than talent, further than luck, further than any shortcut ever could. Think of the times you've pushed through before. Remember the exam you thought you'd fail but passed, the run you thought you couldn't finish but completed, the pain you thought you couldn't endure but overcame. Those moments changed you. They proved that the limits you felt were not final. That same principle applies now. Push harder, and you will meet a new self on the other side. Every extra step matters. One more rep, one more page, one more call, one more day. These are the invisible additions that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. The world will not always cheer for you in these moments. In fact, nobody may notice, but you will. And the self-respect you build by refusing to quit is worth more than any applause. You will never regret pushing through when it mattered, but you will regret quitting when the finish line was closer than you thought. You will regret surrendering when the struggle was about to turn into victory. That regret lingers, whispering, "What if?" long after the moment has passed. Don't give it the chance. Your future self is depending on you. That version of you, stronger, freer, more fulfilled, is waiting on the choices you make today. Push for them. Push for the vision that pulled you out of bed in the first place. Push for the life you promised yourself when you first began. And as you keep pushing, remember this: the process will not always reward you immediately. Sometimes the work feels invisible, the effort unrewarded, the progress hidden. That's when another truth must take root. Trusting the process, even when the results have yet to show. There will be seasons in your life where you do everything right. Wake up early, put in the hours, pour your heart into the work, and yet the results seem invisible. It's frustrating. It feels unfair. You start to wonder if all the effort is wasted. But this is exactly where most people quit, and it's exactly why most people never see their dreams materialize. They abandon the field right before the harvest, mistaking silence for failure. Growth doesn't announce itself. Progress doesn't always come with flashing lights or instant validation. Think of a seed underground. For weeks you water it, nurture it, protect it, and the surface shows nothing. But beneath the soil, roots are spreading, foundations are strengthening, unseen networks of life are forming. And then one day, seemingly out of nowhere, a sprout breaks through. The truth is, it wasn't sudden at all. It was the result of every unseen day before it. Your life works the same way. Trusting the process means holding faith in the invisible. It means believing that the hours you invest are not wasted, even when the scoreboard says 0. It means understanding that every workout strengthens you. Every study session sharpens you. Every disciplined decision builds you, whether or not the world notices. The work is never wasted. Energy invested in growth always compounds, even if it hides its returns for a season. This is where patience becomes power. Patience is not weakness. Patience is not passive. It is the strength to stay committed without proof, to keep going without applause, to believe in yourself when the evidence isn't visible yet. Patience is the wisdom to understand that unseen progress is still progress. And yes, there will be days when doubt screams louder than belief. Days when you look in the mirror and wonder if you're fooling yourself. Days when the weight of silence feels unbearable. But those are the very days that matter most. Because trust is forged not when everything is obvious, but when nothing is. Trust is tested when your faith collides with uncertainty. Remember, shortcuts always cost more in the end. Abandoning the process to chase instant results is like digging up the seed every week to see if it's growing. You destroy what you're trying to build. Real transformation takes time. A masterpiece cannot be rushed. Greatness cannot be microwaved. You don't plant today and harvest tomorrow. You show up, you water, you protect, and you wait with conviction. So the challenge is simple. Stay loyal to your habits when no one is watching. Keep showing up for your discipline when excitement has faded. Keep planting seeds even when the soil looks barren. Because the invisible seasons are not empty, they are the foundation. The character you build in the quiet is the character that will carry the weight of success when it finally arrives. Picture this: a future you looking back, grateful that you didn't give up in the silent season, grateful that you trusted when results weren't visible, grateful that you endured the quiet, because the quiet is what made you unshakable. That gratitude will be real, but only if you refuse to quit now. Every day you invest in yourself is a deposit into a future account. You may not see the balance yet, but interest is compounding. One day the results will break through, undeniable, impossible to ignore. And when they do, people will call it overnight success. But you'll know the truth. It was built in the invisible grind, in the days when only you believed. So remind yourself daily, progress is happening, even if unseen. Growth is real, even if invisible. Victory is forming, even if delayed. Trust the process. Trust the habits. Trust the vision. Your time is coming. And when you've learned to trust the process through silence, you'll be ready for the next challenge. Locking into your vision with such intensity that nothing, no distraction, no setback, no temptation can pull you away until you win. When you set out to build a bigger life, the world will test you. Not once, not twice, but continually. The test rarely comes in the form of open enemies. Instead, it sneaks in as distractions, delays, doubts, and detours. If your vision is fragile, these storms will knock it out of your hands. That's why you must lock onto your vision with an intensity so strong that nothing can pull it away. Vision is not just a dream scribbled on a page. It is the picture you carry of the life you are building, a compass for every decision, a standard for every action. Without it, you drift. With it, you endure. Your vision must become more real to you than your current reality. It must be something you see every day, rehearse every morning, and protect every night. If you don't keep it alive in your mind, the noise of the world will bury it. Locking into vision is not passive daydreaming. It's an active daily choice. You choose it when you're tired. You choose it when you're discouraged. You choose it when other opportunities look easier. You choose it when quitting feels more comfortable. Every time you choose your vision over distraction, you strengthen its hold on your future. Most people don't fail because their dreams are impossible. They fail because they lose sight of them when life gets messy. They allow fear to shrink the picture. They let short-term emotions dictate long-term choices. They surrender to outside opinions that cloud inner clarity. That is the tragedy of an unfocused life. Not that the dream was unreachable, but that it was abandoned. You must decide that your vision will not be shaken, not by criticism, not by failure, not by rejection, not by delay. No storm, no silence, no obstacle can cause you to release it. That is the level of loyalty it requires. Your vision has to be the force behind your schedule, your habits, your priorities. Every choice must either feed the vision or be cut out. There is no neutral ground. This loyalty requires discipline. It requires saying no to good things so you can say yes to the best things. It requires rejecting the comfort of mediocrity to stay aligned with the clarity of greatness. And yes, it often means walking alone. People will question you, doubt you, offer safer paths. If your belief depends on their approval, you will never make it. Vision requires the courage to keep walking even when no one claps. There will be seasons when progress feels painfully slow. There will be days when the gap between where you are and where you want to be looks overwhelming. Those are the moments where vision matters most. Vision is what allows you to see with your heart what your eyes cannot yet see. Vision is what anchors you when emotions want to throw you overboard. Guard your vision ruthlessly. Guard it in your conversations. Don't share it with people committed to misunderstanding you. Guard it in your environment. Surround yourself with reminders of where you're going. Guard it in your thoughts. Refuse to let doubt contaminate the clarity of your picture. Your vision is sacred. Protect it. Because the truth is simple. Every day you stay locked in, you build momentum. Every day you hold steady, you gain ground. Every day you recommit, you separate yourself from the crowd. It might not show today, it might not show tomorrow. But one day, the world will see what you refused to stop building. When you look back, you'll realize that it wasn't talent that carried you. It wasn't luck. It wasn't shortcuts. It was this: the decision to stay loyal to a vision others could not see. The decision to build when it was hard. The decision to keep going when nobody believed. And here is the reward. The life you've envisioned is waiting on the other side of unwavering belief. Not half-hearted belief, not occasional effort, but steady, relentless, immovable conviction. So hold steady, stand tall, move forward, even if you have to crawl. Stay locked in on your vision until you win. Not until you get tired, not until it feels slow, not until you feel like giving up, until you win. And when you finally stand inside the life you once only dreamed of, you'll know every sacrifice was worth it. Every lonely night, every distraction resisted, every unseen effort was the price of building something that lasts. But even then, the journey won't be without falls. Life will knock you down. Plans will collapse. Confidence will break. And when that happens, the final test of all will be this: will you rise again? Life will knock you down. That is not a possibility. It is a certainty. No matter how strong you've become, no matter how carefully you've prepared, there will be moments when the ground shifts beneath you. Plans will crumble. Confidence will break. Circumstances will betray your expectations. And in those moments, the defining question is not whether you will fall, but whether you will rise again. Falling is not failure. Staying down is. Feeling lost is not weakness. Giving up on yourself is. Every champion, every builder, every person who created something meaningful had to master the art of rising again. They stumbled, they doubted, they got knocked down harder than they imagined. But each time they stood up. They rebuilt courage when it cracked. They found their footing when it slipped away. And they discovered that resilience, not perfection, is the real measure of greatness. Rising again does not mean pretending you were never hurt. It means refusing to let the hurt define you. It means facing the pain, admitting the loss, acknowledging the confusion, and then standing up anyway. Because every fall offers two paths. One says, stay down, protect yourself, never risk again. And the other says, rise, move forward, trust this is not where your story ends. The easy path is always the first. The stronger path is always the second. And each time you rise, you are sending a message. To the world, I am not finished. To yourself, I can be counted on. To your future, I am still coming for you. Those messages matter more than you think. They shape your identity. They tell you that even when everything seems broken, you are still whole enough to fight. Your journey will not be a straight line. It will be filled with detours, setbacks, false starts, and storms you never expected. That does not mean you are failing. That means you are alive. That means you are in the arena. That means you are building a life that requires strength. And strength is forged only in the fire of setbacks. So give yourself permission to be human, to fall, to doubt, to question. But never give yourself permission to stay down. Resilience is not about never breaking. It is about bending and returning stronger. Every rise adds to your foundation. Every rise strengthens your soul. Every rise builds a reputation with yourself that says, no matter what, I will not abandon my future. Let's make it practical. The next time you stumble, instead of asking, why me, ask, what now? That one shift pulls you out of victimhood and into agency. It takes the focus off the past and puts it back on the present. And the present is the only place where you can act. Every time you choose action after a fall, you reclaim your power. And here is the beauty. Rising again is not about speed. It doesn't matter if you stand up immediately or slowly. It matters that you stand. Even if you're limping, even if you're bruised, even if you're unsure of the path forward. Rising itself is the victory. Rising itself is the declaration. Rising itself is the transformation. Because you are not defined by your falls. You are defined by your rises. You are defined by the courage it takes to continue when quitting would be easier. You are defined by the ability to turn pain into wisdom, setbacks into stepping stones, loss into lessons. Every rise builds not just your goals, but your character. And character is the one thing that cannot be stripped away. So rise tired, rise scared, rise uncertain, rise bruised, rise confused, but rise. Every rise is proof that you are not done. Every rise is a step closer to the life you're capable of living. Every rise is a reminder that the world has not seen the best of you yet. And when you stand again after falling, you will carry something new. An unshakable confidence that only comes from knowing you can recover. That confidence will serve you in every storm ahead. It will remind you that no matter what happens, you are never truly defeated until you choose not to rise. So carry this with you. The journey is not about never falling. The journey is about becoming the kind of person who rises every time. That is victory. That is freedom. That is what it means to focus on you until you win. Now let's seal this story the way it deserves, with a final word that ties every lesson together. A closing reflection that sends you forward not just inspired, but transformed. You have walked through the entire journey, building your strongest self, silencing the noise, fighting for your dreams, showing up daily, cutting distractions, owning your life, pushing past the urge to quit, trusting the invisible process, locking into your vision, and finally, rising again. Every principle points to one truth. Your future belongs to you the moment you decide it does. Nobody else can fight for it. Nobody else can carry it. Nobody else can live it. And now, as this message ends, the story circles back to where it began. With agency. Nobody is coming to save you. But you don't need saving. What you need is commitment. What you need is focus. What you need is the courage to rise again and again until you stand inside the life you once only dreamed of. Let's be clear. Falling is inevitable, but staying down is optional. You will doubt, you will stumble, you will face moments that feel heavier than your strength. But each time, you get to choose. Will you surrender, or will you rise? And every rise reshapes your identity. Every rise tells the truth. You are not defined by failure. You are defined by resilience. So let this be your mantra as you move forward. Rise tired. Rise scared. Rise uncertain. Rise bruised. Rise confused. But rise. Always rise. Each time you stand, you reclaim your story. Each time you rise, you step closer to the vision you've protected. Each time you rise, you declare to yourself and the world that you are not finished. The best part? Your future self will thank you. Years from now, when you look back, you will remember the days you wanted to quit, and you'll be grateful you didn't. You'll be proud of the scars, proud of the setbacks, proud of the resilience that carried you through. Because that resilience is the real prize. The victory on the outside is only proof of the transformation within. So go forward with this conviction. Your story is still being written. Your best days are not behind you. They are ahead of you. And as long as you keep rising, no fall can destroy you. No storm can define you. No failure can end you. You are still in the fight. You are still writing the story. You are still becoming the person you were born to be. Focus on you until you win. Not until it feels easy. Not until the world believes. Not until the doubts disappear. Until you win. And when that day comes, when you stand inside the life you built with your own hands, you will know every sacrifice, every lonely night, every moment of rising again was worth it. Rise. Rise tired. Rise hopeful. Rise unshakable. Your future is waiting, and it belongs to you.